All right, buckle up everyone, because today we're diving headfirst into the supernatural side of Colorado Springs.
A place where history and the unexplained, they kind of intertwine, you
Yeah.
know? It's really fascinating. You've got Native American legends, you've got echoes of that Wild West history, and then you even have whispers of Cold War secrets.
And speaking of secrets, that's where the Cryptid Commission comes in. We're turning Colorado Springs into our very own ghost hunting playground.
Oh, wow.
And the best part is, you can follow along with every spine-tingling discovery on our brand new channel launching soon. We're talking EMF readers, night vision cameras, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
But what really sets us apart is this piece of tech, the Halo XRF scope.
Mm.
The night vision is incredible. It cuts through darkness like something that cuts through darkness really well.
So where are you starting this ghostly adventure?
Well, we can't talk about Colorado Springs without mentioning the Manitou Cliff dwellings. These ancient ruins, they're not just a tourist attraction. They're steeped in stories and beliefs that, they kind of send shivers down your spine.
I bet. What kind of stories?
Local legend has it that if you disrespect the site, you might just end up having a close encounter of the supernatural kind.
It's almost as if the spirits of those who were displaced, the ancestral Puebloans, are still, guarding this place.
It's like the land itself remembers what happened there. And that brings us to another spot with some seriously eerie vibes. Red Rock Canyon. This place was, sacred ground to a lot of different Native American tribes. And even today, hikers report all sorts of strange feelings and unexplained phenomena.
Like what are people experiencing there?
Well, they describe feelings of unease, being watched. Some even report an overwhelming sense of sadness, like something heavy's weighing on them.
It really makes you think about, the emotional weight of the past. Like these places are holding on to these feelings, these energies, even after all this time.
Right. Like some things can't be explained away so easily. So it begs the question, are these feelings just remnants of the past? Or is it something more supernatural?
I mean, that's the question, isn't it? The one that humans have been asking themselves for centuries. And that's what draws us to these stories, to these mysteries. We want to understand the unknown.
And speaking of mysteries, Colorado Springs also has a pretty solid reputation for, haunted hotels.
Mm-hmm.
One that always gives me goosebumps is the Antlers Hotel in downtown.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. What's so spooky about it?
Guests report all sorts of strange things happening, noises, cold spots, and even apparitions in old-fashioned clothing.
So it's like stepping back in time, a portal to another era, maybe. Like these spirits are stuck replaying scenes from their lives.
Maybe, but why? Are they trapped there? Are they choosing to stay? Are they trying to tell us something?
It's a good question. What do you think?
I mean, who knows? Maybe they're not these scary figures we imagine them to be. Maybe they just want to connect, to reach out from beyond.
Maybe these hauntings aren't about fear, but about understanding. It definitely makes you look at those ghost stories in a new light.
So we've got ancient ruins, eerie canyons, haunted hotels. But we can't forget about Helen Hunt Falls. It's actually named after the poet Helen Hunt Jackson. But here's the thing, she actually died in California.
Wait, really? But the falls are in Colorado.
Yep, but her spirit is said to linger there, at the falls, a place she absolutely loved when she was alive. Visitors report hearing laughter near the falls. Some even say they've seen a shadowy figure, a woman who appears and disappears just like that.
It's like her love for that place, for Colorado Springs, drew her spirit back even though her body is somewhere else.
And it adds another layer to those haunting stories. Maybe it's not always about a tragic event or unfinished business. Maybe it's also about those deep connections we have with certain places.
It's definitely not your typical ghost story.
Now, speaking of stories that tug at your heartstrings, there's one we have to talk about. The tale of Emma Crawford.
Oh, Emma Crawford. Her story's really about resilience, about holding on to hope even when things are tough.
So Emma came to Manitou Springs in the late 1800s. She was hoping to find a cure for tuberculosis in the town's famous mineral springs, but unfortunately she died pretty young. They buried her on Red Mountain. But over time, erosion, it washed her coffin down the mountainside.
Wow. That's a bit unsettling.
It is. And after that, stories about Emma's ghost started popping up all over Manitou Springs.
Yeah, you can see why. It's like her spirit couldn't find peace after such a disruptive end.
Visitors say they see a shadowy figure near where she was buried, just a fleeting presence that disappears as quickly as it appears.
It's as if she's searching for a place to rest, unable to move on until she finds some peace.
It's a pretty heartbreaking story.
You know, it's interesting, though, there's another way to look at Emma's story. Maybe it's less about a restless spirit and more about resilience, about remembering her. Some folks believe that her spirit isn't trapped or anything, but that she's choosing to stay in Manitou Springs, like she's watching over the town.
That's a nice way to think about it. She found peace in Manitou Springs, even if it wasn't the kind of healing she was looking for. It's a good reminder that these ghost stories, they don't always have to be scary or sad. Sometimes they can be about love, connection, even after death.
It really is about how we interpret these stories, how we make sense of them. Speaking of stories, have we talked about the phantom of the Broadmoor Hotel, this grand old hotel? Well, it's seen a lot, and some of that might be sticking around, as a woman in white.
Oh, the Broadmoor's Phantom, that's a classic ghost story. She's supposed to be the ghost of a bride, heartbroken, died on her wedding day. People say they've seen her in the halls, always wearing white, her face covered with a veil, but you can tell she's sad.
And they say the temperature drops when she's around, a wave of sadness that just hangs in the air. It's like the hotel itself is holding on to the sadness of her story.
Makes you wonder if some places are just, I don't know, better at holding on to these energies, these echoes of the past. Places where there were really strong emotions, happy or sad, maybe they're like a recording, playing those feelings over and over.
Now that you mention it, the Cryptid Commission, you don't just rely on those stories and feelings, do you? You're using technology to try and document this stuff, right?
Absolutely. We're all about blending the old school ghost hunting methods with some cutting edge tech. We use EMF detectors, EVP recorders, thermal cameras, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
But our secret weapon, the Halo XRF scope,
Mm-hmm.
the night vision, amazing. We can see things in the dark that you wouldn't believe.
So you're not just running around chasing shadows, you're trying to get some real evidence to understand what's happening.
We try to approach this stuff with a healthy dose of skepticism, but also with an open mind. We don't take everything at face value. We ask questions, we dig deeper, we use the tech to try and figure out what's really going on.
It's a tricky balance, right? You don't want to be too skeptical and miss something, but you also don't want to be too gullible and fall for, tricks or misunderstandings.
Exactly. Now, we've talked about ghosts and spirits, but there's another place where history and the unexplained meet in Colorado Springs, the Cheyenne Mountain Complex. It was built during the Cold War, shrouded in secrecy, and it's just a breeding ground for all sorts of rumors.
So we're moving on from ghosts to something a little more, well, top secret. The Cheyenne Mountain Complex, buried in a mountain, built to survive a nuclear attack. I mean, come on, it sounds like a spy movie.
You got it. Secret tunnels, possible alien encounters, stories about paranormal stuff that would make anyone think twice, even the biggest skeptics.
It's wild how this place, a relic of the Cold War, has become part of the whole supernatural thing. Like the fear from back then, the fear of the unknown, is somehow baked into the place.
It doesn't help that so much about the complex is still classified top secret. People love to fill in the blanks, imagine what's hidden in there.
And those imaginings, well, they turn into stories, legends. We're drawn to the mystery, to things we don't understand.
And that's what gets the Cryptid Commission going. We want to find the truth, separate fact from fiction, and document these stories that are right on the edge of history and the paranormal.
Who knows, maybe deep in the Cheyenne Mountain Complex, you'll find something that proves some of those crazy rumors are true.
We can always hope, right?
Yeah.
Even if we don't find aliens or government conspiracies, just exploring these places is exciting. The anticipation, the possibility of discovery, that's what keeps us coming back for more. It's crazy, right? We've covered so much ground, from ancient ruins to haunted hotels to, top secret Cold War bunkers. And I don't know about you, but I'm seeing a pattern here.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just about ghosts and hauntings. It's about, like, the energy of a place, How human emotions, all those feelings, they can stick around, they can leave a mark. Think about it. We talked about the ancestral Pueblones and how their displacement, that sadness, it seems to linger at those ruins.
And then there's Red Rock Canyon, with those feelings of unease and sadness that hikers report. And even the Broadmoor Hotel, where that poor bride's sorrow just hangs in the air. It's like these places, they've absorbed those emotions.
It makes you think, doesn't it? Like, how do we affect the places we visit? Do our own feelings, our own energies, do they become part of the fabric of these places?
That's a wild thought. So we've been talking about the Cryptid Commission and their approach to all of this. What do you think about them using all this technology to investigate these mysteries?
It's pretty smart, if you ask me. Using tech along with the more traditional ghost hunting stuff, it gives them a more, balanced perspective, and hopefully a more objective one, too. They're trying to collect evidence, something you can really look at, analyze, instead of just relying on personal feelings or interpretations.
Right. It's about bringing a more a more scientific approach to something that's often seen as, well, completely unscientific. They're not just trying to prove or disprove ghosts. They want to understand what's happening, to shed some light on the darkness using the best tools available.
Speaking of tools, you mentioned the Cryptid Commission is using that Halo XRF scope. I got to know more about this thing.
Oh man, it's amazing. The night vision is incredible. So clear. It's like they can see in total darkness. I can't wait to see what they capture with it.
It's like giving them a superpower, you know? They can see things we can't even imagine. It really changes the game for paranormal investigations.
Totally. And it shows just how dedicated they are to pushing the limits in this field, always embracing new tech, new ideas. That's what makes their work so cool.
Well, I'm excited to see what they find in Colorado Springs. Who knows? Maybe they'll uncover some evidence that finally explains those legends we've been talking about.
Me too. And for anyone listening, make sure you subscribe to the Cryptid Commission's channel. You'll be able to follow along with their investigations, see behind the scenes, and check out how they're using tech to unravel these paranormal mysteries.
So, as we wrap up our deep dive into the supernatural side of Colorado Springs, here's a thought. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, you gotta admit, these stories, they really make you think. They challenge what we think we know about reality, about the world, and they remind us that there's still so much out there that we don't understand.
You said it. Colorado Springs, it's like this amazing blend of history, legends, and the unexplained. It gives us a peek into something beyond what we see every day. And who knows, maybe someday we'll finally have answers to those questions that have been bugging us for, well, forever. Until then, those mysteries are still out there, waiting for someone brave enough to go looking.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep an open mind. You never know what you might find when you start looking beyond the ordinary.